The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
It's coming.
All these voices. All these voices.
They're mine. They're not yours. You had no right to them when you were alive, and you have no right to them when you're dead. You say Hershey. That's what it sounded like. Good, so you know who I am. Because then you know I'm not playing. You're going to let those women go. In Jesus' name, you're going to let those women go.
Is there a demon here watching us right now? Or just watching us right now?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
And good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good night. Thank you, brother.
Tonight's episode is going to be interesting. We're doing Halloween this week. It's right up on Halloween, and this is one of old boy's absolute favorite times of year. I like it too. It's all right. My absolute favorite holiday is Christmas. I love Christmas. But Halloween's a close second. And instead of doing like the history of Halloween, which we've done before, or do a different monster every week for the month of October, which we've done before, we've been doing this like 6-7 years now. So we've done a lot of different shows. And we've kind of done every kind of gimmick that you can do on Halloween to try to make Halloween special. So this year, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about Halloween. We're going to talk about some of our favorite moments from Halloween, what Halloween means to us, and how we celebrate Halloween, and what we're planning on doing this year. Halloween, to me, was always a special time because it meant candy. And I love candy. So, basically, I grew up on bases all over the world. I was a military kid. So you would just go around base to all the different areas, and you would trick or treat and get a buttload of candy. And even though we lived on bases and we pretty much never had any situation with us or with anybody else that we've ever heard of actually having a razor blade or anything bad in their candy, even though we've never even heard of it, we still had to have our candy checked every single time by Dad. Now, I'm sure that there's a part of him that was doing that to make sure that we were safe. But I think there was also a part of him that was doing that to kind of pilfer a little bit of good candy, if you know what I mean. Because it's kind of funny how some of his favorite candies always seem to be questionable. So maybe he better take a hold of that one and keep it back just in case. You know, we got to be safe after all. We wouldn't want nothing to happen to us. So after we went through the screening process, we would be left with a ton of candy. That candy would be put into like Ziploc bags, and we would eat it a little bit all the time as we sat at the house. We'd take it to school with us and eat a little bit at school, and it would last a week or two, and then we would be out of candy. So that was always what Halloween meant as a kid, was candy. That simple. When I was coming up in the 70s, it was a little bit different than a lot of you might be used to. People nowadays go to like places like Party City and different Halloween stores, and they buy specialty costumes that are just amazing. And it's almost like cosplay, they're so good. Back in my day in the 70s, man, you didn't have that. You had the plastic masks that had that little rubber band that attached in the back. And those tiny little eye holes. So you put that thing on your face, you couldn't see a damn thing. Now, if you were rolling in the cash, if you were balling, then you might be able to afford a rubber mask that actually went over your whole head. But the overwhelming majority of people wore those little goofy two-dimensional masks that just fit directly over your face like this. And they had these tiny little holes that you would try to look through. And you couldn't breathe worth a damn through them or nothing. And inevitably, half hour into your night, that stupid rubber band would break, And I'm sure every single one of your fathers did the same thing mine did, which is retie the rubber band to make sure it stayed on. And it was way tighter. So you went from having a mask that looked stupid and that you couldn't see through to something that was literally smashed into your face to where it didn't even sit straight on your face anymore. And it was very, very uncomfortable to wear. The outfit part of the Halloween costume was always like a plastic sheeting kind of material. Almost like a PVC sheeting kind of material. And it was hot, and it smelled like rubber and plastic. And you sweated like a maniac in it. So by the end of the night, you're tired from walking around. You're overheated as hell and sweaty and just feel gross from wearing that nasty costume that sticks to you. And your head hurts from that stupid mask being way too tight on your face. That's what Halloween was back in the 70s. Nowadays, like I said, there's all kinds of really, really cool costumes and all that kind of stuff. But that was Halloween for me as a child. Every year. As I got a little bit older, started to become like a teenager, Halloween changed. Now, we never did the mean things of like egging people's houses and TPing people's houses. And there was kids that would go around and find smaller kids that didn't have their parents with them and just beat them up and take their candy bags. We never did any of that kind of stuff. We weren't mean kids. But what we liked to do was kind of start going in and exploring and checking out places that were supposed to be haunted and rumored to be haunted and that were spooky. So on Halloween, we would always find one of these kind of places to go check out. The first story I want to tell from when I was a teenager involves a haunted forest. Now, this haunted forest wasn't actually haunted. It was the same as a haunted house that was set up to scare people on Halloween. So you would pay your money and you would walk down a trail and they would have all kinds of little things set up to scare you, people jumping out, all that kind of crap. Well, this was around the time that Nightmare on Elm Street was super popular. And the original Nightmare on Elm Street is the only movie that ever actually scared me. Freddy Krueger just creeped me out. Now, the rest of them weren't scary at all because the rest of them were funny. But the first one was scary for me. Now, keep in mind, I was a little kid at the time when I saw the first one. But even as a teenager, I still had that apprehension when it came to Freddy Krueger. I didn't play around with Freddy. So I'm walking through the haunted forest, and, there's the jump scares, all the crap that happens in a haunted house or a haunted forest. And it's no big deal. I'm dealing with it. I'm walking through. I'm not scaring me. I'm all good. And then I feel something on my shoulder. Right on the back of my shoulder like this. Touching, but from the other way. And it is Freddy's glove. And I can feel the blades on Freddy's gloves tapping. Doop, 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 like that on my shoulder. And I look down at my shoulder. And I see Freddy's glove. And I spin around. And there standing in front of me is Freddy Krueger. The hat, the sweater, the mask over the face. It looks like Freddy's face. In the dark of the woods, it looked like Freddy Krueger. Now, a rational person in that situation would probably go, oh, hey, you scared me. That's a good one. I was not a rational person at that moment because, like I said, that is the only horror movie that ever actually scared me. So I went from being big, tough guy, I'm not scared of anything, to absolute panic in a matter of milliseconds. And I did something I'm not very proud of. I turned around, like I said, and I saw Freddy there. And I reacted almost instantly and just punched that dude right in the face as hard as I could. Now, I didn't do it out of malice. I didn't do it to try to hurt him or to be a tough guy. I literally did it out of panic and survival instinct. I had no control over my actions. It was pure fear. And I just swung. And I connected with that dude's jaw and he dropped like a sack of potatoes. Now, I don't know if he got up very quickly or if at all. I really don't know what happened after that because as soon as I hit that dude in the mouth and he fell, I took off running. Straight past him, straight out into the woods. And I kept on going until I couldn't even hear or see nothing anymore of that haunted forest. So I spent that Halloween kind of walking through the woods at night, trying to find my way back to base so that I could get back to my house. That was a kind of an interesting and funny story of something that happened to me on Halloween when I was a teenager. Now let's fast forward a couple more years. And like I said, we would always go and try to find these haunted places. Now I moved back here to the mountains of Virginia, where I live now, because my father, we were supposed to actually go to Japan, but my grandmother had cancer, lung cancer, and she got a lot worse. So instead of going to Japan, the Air Force sent us back here to Virginia. Now we could have went to Andrews Air Force Base, which is like in D.C., Maryland area, but Dad actually got stationed at the Pentagon in D.C. So we came back here instead of going to Japan. Now, up here in the mountains, there's a place called Magnesium Mines. What all the kids used to call it are the Screaming Woods. The reason they call it the Screaming Woods is because supposedly there's a house up there that an old woman killed her kids and then hung herself in the basement. And the legend states that old woman was a witch. Whether any of that is actually true, who knows? But that's what the story is. That's what we all grew up hearing and believing. So we decided one Halloween we were going to go on up there and look for the house and try to find it. So we drive up there, we find the driveway where supposedly the house is at the end of. Now you can only go like a couple feet into this driveway because there's a fence there. Not really a fence as much as there's like a steel cable going across the road that keeps you from driving through. Up here in the mountain, that's a fence. That's what we call a fence. If you want to keep somebody out, you put steel cable or barbed wire, and they don't get through. So we parked the car down at the end of the driveway, and we decided we're going to walk up this trail, this driveway, and try to find this house. Now, hell, there was probably 6 or 7 of us piled into this car. So we start walking up. It's me and a couple guys and a couple girls. And we're walking up this driveway, and it's dark, and it's spooky, of course. And right away, there's apprehension going on with the girls. They do not want to go all the way up this driveway to this house because they're getting more freaked out as they go. So we walk for, 5 minutes, something like that. And we actually do see a house up at the top of the hill there. So I'm excited because I want to go check this house out and see what's going on. I want to see if the legends are true. We lost a few people along the way that they just weren't going in that house. They didn't give a damn. They turned around and walked back down the driveway. But me and a couple other people went into the house. And it was just an old, dilapidated, broken up house. Spray paint everywhere and just an old wreck of a house. I decided I was going to go down to the basement to where this woman supposedly hung herself. Nobody else that was with me that night was willing to go into the basement because it was a scary looking area. The steps weren't real good. It was very, very dark. There was a lot of spider webs and stuff like that. But I went down there anyway, and I hung out down in the basement for, 5-10 minutes by myself, just looking around and waiting to see if anything happened. And nothing happened. It was fairly uneventful and fairly boring while I was in that basement. I did have a rather creepy feeling. Like I felt like something was watching me, and I felt like something was off. You could feel evil in the room. Now, whether there was evil in the room or whether that was simply my imagination because of the story, who knows? But anyway, nothing happened in the basement. So eventually I decided, okay, enough is enough. I'm not going to stand down here anymore. Nothing's going on. So I climbed back out and we start to make our way out of the house and back down the driveway. Well, as we're walking down the driveway, I notice off to my right, there's a light. But it's a weird looking light. It's not like a headlight or like a street light. It looks like a lantern, like an old style lantern that has like a flame in it. And I'm standing there and I'm looking at this light and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is that? And it's starting to kind of move closer. And as it moves closer, I can see that it is a lantern of some sort and somebody is holding it and walking towards us. Now, I don't really want to say walking because it was more like gliding towards us, but they were moving towards us. So I decide I want to find out who this is. So I start walking towards the light. Now, the two people that had went into the house with me, that was their limit. They were not going to walk towards that light. But I wanted to know what the hell it was, so I started walking towards it. So I reached a point to where I could actually see fairly well what I was looking at. And I was looking at an old woman with a light that was walking towards me. Once I reached a point where I could really make out her features and could really see her well, she stopped moving towards me. And then as I moved towards her, she kind of would start to back away. So I could never really get any closer. So finally, I kind of just gave up and walked back over to the road, and we started walking down towards the car. And the light just kind of disappeared. So we're walking down towards the car. We get about halfway to the car, and I see a light again over to my right. And I'm thinking, is this the same old woman that is looking at us again? So once again, I kind of start walking into the woods after the light. But this time the light doesn't move. It just stays where it is. And as I get a little closer, I can see that it's that same old woman, but she's no longer standing there holding a light. She's actually sitting in a rocking chair and rocking like this with the light in her hand. And I thought, well, that's interesting. So if she's not going to move, I'm going to see if I can get closer. So I kept walking towards her. And once I got another maybe 10 feet, the light just went away. It disappeared. And she was gone. And I kept on walking over to where she was, but there was no sign of anything. There was no person. There was no rocking chair. There was no sign of anything. So unless this old woman picked up her rocking chair, turned off her light, and ran through the woods and got away without me hearing her, all I can say is that must have been a spirit of some sort of ghost. So I'm thinking maybe that I saw the spirit of the old woman that lives in that home. Now, whether she was a witch, whether she killed her kids, I have no idea. I don't know. But that was the legend. And that's what I saw that Halloween. And it's funny because that place became like legendary, where kids would always go out there to try to see something. And everybody always kind of chickened out. I know Andy, that is on my team here in Virginia, he also went down there to check it out one time, and he saw some stuff. So that place is a really cool place, and eventually I would like to try to get back up in there and bring the film crew and everything and actually film and see if we can't find something up there. I think that would be a really cool and interesting episode of Tales. The problem is I don't know who owns the place, and it is private property, and it is marked no trespassing. Now, back when I was a teenager, I didn't give a damn about that. You know, I would go anyway. But as an adult and being who I am, and I'm easily recognizable, I don't really want to go up there and film a show while trespassing on private property without permission, and then the evidence of my crime is literally right there to watch. So I'm going to try to find out who owns the joint so I can go back up in there and check it out. I think that would make a really cool episode. The next Halloween moment that I want to talk about, we were actually working a case. And it was a case that was honestly a bit ridiculous, I thought. Because the reports that we were there to check out were of a troll that hung out in the area of this bridge. Now, the bridge wasn't much of a bridge. It wasn't like a big drawbridge or a big suspension bridge or anything like that. It was like a tiny little bridge that went over a little creek and had like a drainage tunnel underneath of it. And literally you could probably run and jump if you were an athlete and clear the water that it was helping you to cross. But it was a bridge nonetheless. But the reports from people in the area were that there was some sort of little creature that looked like a troll that lived either under the bridge or around the bridge, and people had been seeing it. And it had started making its way up to people's homes and kind of peering in through their doors and windows and stuff, and it was freaking people out. So we had multiple people that had contacted me and said, hey man, can you come check this out? So I thought, okay, I'll come check it out. The odds of me actually finding a troll and doing anything about it are almost zero. But what the hell? It's Halloween. It'll be fun just to go looking for a troll on Halloween. I mean, who gets to do that, right? What a great life. So that's what I did. I grabbed a couple guys and we went looking for a troll on Halloween under a bridge. The most stereotypical place for a troll to be. So we get out there to the place, and the first thing I notice is it's very dark. It's very dark, and it is very remote. This place is out in the mountains, and to call the road that the bridge is connecting the two sides of over this little bit of water a road is being very, very generous. It was literally nothing more than the idea of a road scratched into the dirt. It wasn't even gravel. It was literally dirt. But that's what it was. So I'm walking around this area, and I'm smelling, because I'm trying to figure out, is it an animal that they're seeing? Because a lot of times with an animal, when they come up, especially if they're up around somebody's house, or if you kind of shine a light on them with the headlights of your car when you're crossing a bridge, you're going to get that glowing eye effect, either glowing red or glowing gold eyes. And what that is actually the eye shine of the animal. So a lot of times when people report glowing red eyes, it's simply a normal animal that they're seeing, that the light is reflecting off their eyes and making it look red. So I'm kind of smelling, because I want to smell it. Do I smell a deer? Do I smell a bear? Do I smell, bobcat or a mountain lion? What's up here? Because they all have distinct smells. You can tell the difference from smelling. And I did smell something, but I never smelled nothing like it before. It wasn't a bear. It wasn't a deer. It wasn't a bobcat. It wasn't a mountain lion. It was gross. It wasn't a skunk, because a skunk has a certain odor too that is unmistakable. Once you smell a skunk, you know a skunk when you smell one. It wasn't that, but it did stink a lot. So I smelled something. So I started looking around. I got my light out, and I'm walking around. I decided I'm gonna look all around this bridge, and it smelled really bad over by the bridge. I mean, it really stunk. But I didn't see anything anywhere around the bridge, so I thought, well, maybe I'll kind of go in underneath the bridge in this little drainage ditch area, this like round tunnel, and see what I see in there. Because that's the last place, maybe something crawled in there and died, and that's what the smell is. Maybe these people saw an animal, and they shined the light on the animal with their headlights or something, and maybe the animal ran and fell and died, or maybe they hit it with the car, somebody did, and it went up underneath the bridge and died, and that's what I'm smelling. So I kind of go to the bridge, and I walk over, and I kind of poke my head in to that little tunnel. And I shine a light in there, and I'm trying to see what I can see. Now, it's not very, very wide. It's a 2-lane bridge. So it's however long that is. Maybe 10 feet. I don't know. But it is very, very dark, because there's no street lights anywhere, because it's out in the mountain. So I'm shining a light in there, and sure enough, I see glowing red eyes. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm dealing with some kind of animal and is underneath this bridge. And then right away, I'm thinking, uh-oh. If I'm shining my light on something that likes to be underground, like a bear or a bobcat or a mountain lion that's denned up under here, chances are that damn thing will come out that hole very, very fast and very, very pissed. So I pulled my pistol. I always carry a .357 Magnum with me. So I pulled it out, and I was ready. And to my surprise, nothing charged out. I could still see the glowing red eyes, but nothing charged out. So then I kind of decided, well, let me try to take a step towards this thing. Maybe I can get a better look at it. Now, granted, I have my pistol pulled, and it's trained on whatever this is. So if it is an animal, I'm going to kill it if it tries to come at me. So I took a step, and all I could see was a lot of hair and a lot of teeth. They were very sharp, very pointy teeth. Don't know what it was. Didn't get a really, really good look at it. It took off running. It didn't run like a cat would. It kind of ran standing up, just kind of hauling ass out of the tunnel on the other side, and disappeared off into the woods. I tried to track, I tried to find it. I couldn't find it. I walked around for several hours looking. I don't know where it went. It was just gone. I don't think it was a bear because it just didn't, the shape wasn't right for a bear. A bear has like an elongated snout that kind of comes down like this. And so when you're looking at the teeth, it's like a triangle shape. This wasn't like that. This was a round face. And the teeth were all through here. And they were big and pointy. So, don't know. Don't know what the hell it was. Never was able to positively identify it. Could it have been a troll? Who knows? If such a thing exists, maybe I saw one. But it did run away. And it did not want any part of me. So the interesting part of this story, believe it or not, is yet to come. Because, like I said, I walked around for a couple hours looking for this thing. And I couldn't find it. So then I decided, okay, that's it for tonight then. I'm just going to go on home because there's no point in staying out here any longer. I can't find this thing. So I leave. When I get back to town, I see this weird looking dog that has one blue eye and one red eye. And it's the strangest looking damn dog I ever seen. It's way bigger than a dog should be. And it's just weird looking. Something's off about this thing. And it's just kind of standing there watching me. And I drove by and I kind of noticed it. I'm like, what the hell? That's a weird looking dog. So then I went and I picked my buddy up. And we decided we're going to spend the rest of our Halloween night trying to pick up some women. So we go a couple towns over looking for some chicks. And I get a couple towns over, which is approximately 20 miles away from where I first saw that dog in my town. And I'm driving the strip of that town, the little area where everybody hangs out. And as I go up to turn around and come back down the strip again, I see, standing off in a yard, that same damn dog again. With one red eye and one blue eye. And I thought, what the hell? I just saw that thing in Strasburg, where I live. How the hell did it get all the way to Winchester? That don't make no sense. Because I know that thing couldn't have ran as fast as I drove. Because all I did was stop and pick my buddy up and hauled ass to Winchester. And I drove very fast back then. So there's no way that dog could run there as fast as I drove there. But there he was. And I thought, well, that's weird. I continued to see that dog everywhere I went. Front Royal, Woodstock, Edinburgh, all these different towns. When I would go cruising around, there that damn thing would be. For weeks. Absolutely for weeks. And I never could figure out what it was, but it just didn't feel right. You know? There was no reason that dog should have been there at all these different places. And it felt like the dog was watching us. But I never could kind of get to the dog, because when I would try to pull over and go over and see what the hell was going on with this dog, it would run away. And then I'd see it again a couple blocks away. And then I'd see it again in another town. And this went on for weeks until finally the dog just disappeared and I never saw it again. So I don't know if whatever that creature was underneath the bridge kind of disguised itself as a dog and was keeping watch on us. That's my working theory of it. I don't know why it ended up going away, or maybe it just got better at camouflaging itself and it still keeps an eye on me to this day and I just don't know it. Who knows? Interesting thought though, huh? But that's my story of when I went troll hunting on Halloween and the dog that stalked me afterwards. It's a funny little silly story, really. It's ridiculous, but it's honest to God truth. That happened. The last one I'll tell you is another legend from this area. It's called the Jackal. Now, what the Jackal actually is, I believe, is a creature called the White Screamer, which we did a show on before. And this was another Halloween night, and we were doing what we normally did most nights, especially on Halloween, but pretty much all weekend nights anyway. We would be cruising around looking for women to pick up and hang out with and try to get lucky with. Now down here, there's not really any places to go other than bars. If you are old enough, you can go to bars. and pick up chicks. But when you're a teenager and early 20s, like, 19, 20 years old, before you get to the age where you can legally get into a bar, you're kind of just stuck cruising around trying to pick up women. And everybody kind of just hangs out on the street and BS's. So that's what we would do. We just ride around and try to find women. And when we found them, we would like, hey, how you doing? Get in, we'll hang out. We'd go riding around and listen to music and talk crap. And if we got lucky, something would happen. So that's what we were doing that night. We were cruising. I actually cruised all the way down past Mount Jackson, Virginia, which is a good 45 minutes away from where I live. And it had gotten fairly late at night. It was like 2-something in the morning by the time we got up there. And the pickings were slim at that point. Most people had already went to bed. At that point, we're kind of just driving around and playing music and just goofing off, hoping we find something. So we're riding down the road. I'm driving. And out of the corner of my eye, I see something very, very big and just snow white come running out of the woods to my left. Now, to my left is a field. And I'm driving down a road called Route 11, which is like the main road. It's not the interstate, but it's the main highway that connects all these towns. So this thing comes running from my left, and it's running straight towards the car. And I'm kind of looking over, and I'm like, what in the hell is that? And it runs right up behind the car and jumps onto the back of my car. When I say jumps onto the back of my car, it doesn't jump on the back of my car like a deer or something like that would, where it just bounces off. This thing looks like a stuntman in like an old 70s sitcom. It jumps and grabs a hold with both hands and holds on to the back of my car. Its head and upper torso is laying on my trunk, and it is staring through the rearview mirror, like through the rear window there. And I look up in the rearview mirror and I can see it staring at me. I see glowing red eyes and a face that honestly looks kind of like a werewolf face, if you want me to be honest about it. It was scary looking. And this thing was just looking straight at me. Now, my buddy I had with me, he turned around and looked at this thing right in the face. And he proceeded to scream like a girl and urinate all over my seat. And then he didn't talk no more for a long time. He just sat there staring off, catatonic. Now I'm looking in my rearview mirror and I see this damn thing is hanging on to the back of my car and looking through my rear window there. And my thought is, this thing might like punch through my window and like break my window and come in the car. That's what I was worried about. So I started swerving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like a maniac, just trying to shake it. So I'm kind of skidding this way, skidding that way, skidding this way, skidding that way, shaking it all over to hell in creation, and finally it starts to lose its grip. And it starts sliding backwards down my trunk. Now you can hear the sound of this thing's claws scraping on the metal as it goes down the back of the trunk. Then it disappears from view. But I don't see it on the road behind me as I'm driving. Because believe me, I'm not stopping. I'm hauling ass. I'm going as fast as my old Dodge Aspen would go. And this thing, I couldn't see it anymore. But it wasn't on the road. I didn't see it fall. And come to find out, it was actually hanging onto the back bumper. So I pulled the wheel back and forth several more times really hard. And I kind of I felt like a bumping feeling. Like the car went like this. And then I saw it in the rear view rolling on the ground. It got up and ran back off into the woods again. So I kept on rolling, man. I jumped on the interstate and I hauled ass. And I got way far away from there. I drove the 45 minutes back to my town and another almost half hour past my town before I got to a town called Stevens City, which a buddy of mine lived at. And we were able to actually go in and examine the car and stop and feel safe. So when I stopped, there was blood on my bumper and there was a bunch of hair on my bumper. So I took the hair and I took the blood, I bagged it up, and I still have that in a safe somewhere. I locked it up somewhere. I got to find the safe. It's one of those little fire safes. And so that is the the story of the jackal, or what I believe was the white screamer. And if I ever can find that safe, then I might have an actual DNA sample of this thing, because I do have bloody hair that was on the back of my car that I did save in a bag, in a safe, in a storage building somewhere. I've got multiple storage buildings, so it's in one of them. It's in one of those little blue fire safes. So as soon as I find it, maybe I'll show you guys on the channel here, and I'll hopefully get it analyzed or something. We'll figure it out. But anyway, that is my stories of Halloween.
Thank you, brother. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode about how we celebrate Halloween and how we feel about Halloween and the holiday itself. I know some people have their opinions on me, and I don't care. Trust me, I don't care. Whatever you believe, and this is something I want to say before I start talking about what I do, and James is going to talk about what he does, and he has already. Look, I know you know what I am. I don't care. Especially with the paranormal thing and whatever you want to think. You don't like me because of my belief. That proves my point. And I'm talking about any religion. You know what? I have my opinions on a lot of people's religion, but I don't hate anybody over it. Whatever you want to think, whatever Hollywood has taught you about how we are, you're wrong. There is some people, just like in other religions, that use this for bad. Or Halloween for bad. Like, I've been seeing the fentanyl thing. They're telling people there's strips now that test for candy that people are putting fentanyl in it. If you're doing that to hurt any kind of children or anybody, screw you. I'm not for that. I'm sorry. I don't care what you think of me, what my religious beliefs or any beliefs are. If you're hurting people for nothing, that's not me. I'm just saying that now. Sam Hell, that I'm probably ruining that. I'm horrible with words and names, guys. I had issues when I was a kid, and I can't say certain stuff right. Sorry if you, I'm not trying to butcher it. Or fall solstice, whatever you want to call it, Halloween, pagan holiday. Some people consider it's funny. A lot of people are celebrating it. We do nothing different. Like, we'll pass candy out to kids. We'll watch horror movies, Halloween specials. We love that stuff. Even with holidays, man. You know, you could tell me Merry Christmas. It doesn't offend me. I don't get heartbroken when somebody tells me Merry Christmas. Or you know, Happy Thanksgiving or any holiday. That's your business, man. You know, I'm not going to say, don't say that. I'm getting mad. It doesn't bother me, just so people know that. I try to accept everybody. Unless you piss me off. And that's a whole different story. Then, you know, screw off then. But me and my wife are different people. Some call us pagans, some call us Satanist. Whatever you think, that's fine. I don't care. You're wrong. Some of what. But just so you know, no, we're not going to do satanic rituals and sacrifice animals and all this other crap that you see on TV and certain religions push on you about us. That's fine. Whatever you want to believe, you're going to do it. It's fine. I don't care. But actually, my wife's birthday's this week, and we're going to have a Halloween party for her and watch horror movies and have people over and dress up. That's what, and we got married on Halloween because it's special to us. And I'm glad for that. I was happy. And next week is going to be our 2-year anniversary since we've been married. So that's another cool thing, and that's why we love Halloween. It's going to be on a Monday. That's the only thing that sucks. I know you guys are, God, I hate when Halloween can't be on the weekends like they were trying to push and make a law about. They should just make it on a Saturday or a Friday. It would be great. But they're not, so every day is Halloween to us, but especially October, I love it. November, you know, I even like the holidays somewhat. I've had a lot of bad things happen to me, so that's why I kind of I'm getting over it. You know, I don't care about the holiday. I care about being around people I love. That's all that matters to me. I've had a lot of hard life, guys. And everybody has, and I'm not sitting here crying. But it's hard for me to believe in things because I've seen other things. Doesn't mean you don't have a right to do it. It just, don't push it on people anymore. Any religion, anything. Live the way you want to live. Believe in whatever you want to believe, as long as it makes you happy. But please don't judge people. I know it's hard, but I do it. Everybody does it. But try to realize not everybody is the same. There's bad apples on each side. Trust me. I hope everybody enjoys their time with their family, their kids, whatever you're going to do. Enjoy your time. Enjoy watching scary movies. Charlie Brown, Halloween. I'm probably going to watch that. Garfield Halloween. I love that one too. I can watch that one. Horror movies. Halloween, Evil Dead 2, The Exorcist, The Shining, It remake, It 2, whatever you guys like. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Watch it. I love that. I love the feeling when it falls, and plus the weather changes. I love cold weather. I'm not a big fan. Even though I live in California, I love cold weather. I was born in Pennsylvania, and I enjoy every minute of that. That's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna do anything special. You know, we're getting older. We love the holidays, and we'll do our own thing and how we do our beliefs. But other than that, we're going to have a good time. And I hope everybody else does, you know. But I just wanted to say something about the fentanyl thing because I keep seeing it. And that's ridiculous if that's the kind of stuff that's going to happen. You know what? I have my opinions on things, but I would never purposely just hurt people for nothing. Because, you know, I don't know why you would. I understand if you have a problem with somebody, but do it in another way. But that is just... it could be anybody. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But some people just, they have these weird thoughts, dude. Like, and it's just, they think different, and that it's all right to hurt people. And it's just been happening through time. It just happens, guys. So please leave your comments on what you're going to do for Halloween, what shows you think we should do, because we have another Halloween show we could do, or two actually. I like doing it into November. So let us know what you think and what we should be doing. But that's what we're going to do. I don't know. James probably going to, you know, he's probably going to just kick back with his wife and his family. His daughter's a little older now, maybe the grandbaby, and chill out, probably maybe pass out candy. He lives up in the mountains, so there's not a lot of people there anymore. So out that way. So he might just chill and watch. He's been watching horror movies. I know he has, and he's been busy. I'll probably carve a pumpkin. I haven't done it for a while. I was thinking about getting one. I think I will. Maybe one. Just to do it for the holiday. Because I always like to eat the pumpkin seeds. Clean them off and put salt on them and we cook them, or garlic salt, whatever. And that's what we use. That was another thing I used. That was what I like to do. I love Halloween. I love when it gets cold. I love the feel of the brisk air, even the rain, the wind, just the weather changes. It just calms everything. And that's why I love it when it comes to the end of September, October. I just feel differently, guys. I get a different feel. I was born on the first day of summer, June 21st. That's what's crazy. And I don't like summer at all. So weird. What do you guys think about that? Leave your comments. I hate the summertime. I hate the heat. I could care less about it. I like cold. I don't like snow all the time either. I like it. I can deal with it because it's cold, but it sucks trying to, move it out of your if you get snowed in, it's a pain in the ass. So you know that, guys. I know James knows that. And when you get older, your body doesn't feel the same as it used to. So it doesn't do good to cold weather anymore. But I like it. And I like the rain and stuff like that. I used to walk around it with my friend Matt. when we were like 18, 19, I'd stay at his house and we would go smoke cigarettes and walk around in the middle of the night. And it'd be, especially around September, October, November, we'd do it. I love it. It would just nice, cold, brisk air. Hang out there, be 30, 40 degrees, and all the desert, it snows in the desert. It gets really cold in the desert, guys. We get rain and snow sometimes. It gets 20, 10, 19 degrees, even colder than that sometimes in the night. Especially around December, January, February, I've even seen it get 8 degrees here. That was a long time ago, but it gets in the teens here, especially certain times in the winter time. In the fall, it gets about 30, 40 degrees sometimes. But right now it's finally cooling down. It was like in the 80s, supposed to be in the 70s and 60s finally. Sick of this stupid weather, guys. I know you guys are too. But we're going to have this little party. I'll probably pass candy out, watch a bunch of horror movies, have a good time. And that's what it is to me. Halloween is a good time. Care what anybody thinks other than that. Whatever you're going to think, you're going to think. There's nothing I can do. I can't change your opinion on me. And I don't care to. I'm not here to care. I'm here to do work. And that's it. Just remember, not everybody's the same. I know that some people think we're evil and whatever. That's your opinion. I have my opinions on you. Some people think the same of you. But just remember, and I'm not trying to make this a religious thing, but not everybody's bad. But you're going to think what you're going to think and leave it at that. But I hope you guys are safe. Check your candy. Check your kids' candy. Keep an eye out. There's a lot of crazy people out there. Keep an eye out on yourself. Be careful when you're driving. You can hit somebody's, pops out. You know how kids are, teenagers that jump out of nowhere. They're excited about the day, the holiday, And just be careful, guys. And that's all I could say. I don't want anybody to get hurt, or anybody I know, family, get hurt, or them. And watch out for the fentanyl or the blades, or the needles, or whatever the hell they do. I mean, that's been going on since the 70s, and that I've been trick or treating. In the 80s and 90s, I always had to watch out for blades, and I've never got anything. One time I did. I'll tell you this, guys. It was like in the 90s. I got a piece of candy, and I opened it, and it looked like there was like a screw in it, and I just threw it away. But that was the only thing I ever had. I never got like sick off anything or anything, maybe eating too much candy, but I did have a screw in one of them. It was kind of weird. How about you guys? Did you ever find anything in your candy or anything crazy? I mean, but this drug thing is ridiculous. I can't believe I was reading about that. That's crazy. What do you guys think about that one? But this is what I'm going to do for Halloween, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Watch a lot of horror movies, because I love horror movies, guys. I like scary movies, sci-fi, horror, whatever you want to watch. I'm going to watch it. I've already watched. Every day I watch a horror movie. Every day I've watched a horror movie. It's crazy. But that's just how it is. Or the old Frankenstein movies, monster movies. I try to watch one every day. And I watch 2 or 3. So I hope you guys do too. So leave your comments and tell us what you guys do. What's your rituals, or what's your fun things you like to do. Some people don't even celebrate it. That's fine. But tell us what you're going to do and what you're going to do this week or next week. The next couple weeks, there's always going to be parties. I know it. So I love you guys. Have a good day and night, wherever you're at. Because some places it's day in Europe, in other countries. Here I think it's almost 10:30 my time. It's like 1:30 something James's. But happy Halloween, guys. We love you. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. It was a little bit different because of Halloween. I hope you guys enjoyed it on Parax Radio every Sunday nights at 9 Pacific, 12 Eastern. And the best of on Tuesday nights, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. If you guys want to listen to all the other shows, go to James Hershey's YouTube page and subscribe. You guys want merchandise, shirts, whatever you want to get, tell us, and we can actually probably make it. So we also have books out. You guys want to get our books, let us know, and we'll tell you where to go on that too. I hope you guys have a good Halloween. All the holidays are coming up, guys, so I hope you guys you have a good time and be safe. Have a good night, Misfits. Sugar ladies, monster lovers, and demon hunters, I love you. And oh wait, sorry. For that, I want to give a shout out to Dave Hernandez. And thank you for, he's the DJ at Club Rocket and other clubs. And Danny Rocket, thank you for letting us do our thing and letting us get into some of these shows. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you guys. I want to give you guys a shout out to him. He's all over the place in the IE, Orange County and LA area, even Vegas. So check him out if you guys live in that area. If you want to go to a club, you like 80s rock, alternative, goth, stuff like that, Spanish rock, check him out. But thank you guys, and blessed be, and happy Halloween.
Thank you, brother. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope that it was fun for you. This one was a little bit different. We didn't really go into a whole bunch of information and all that stuff for you. It was just kind of our experiences of Halloween and kind of the way old boy feels about Halloween and all that kind of stuff. Another thing me and my wife do every Halloween, well, basically the whole month of October, is we will pick a bunch of our favorite horror movies and we'll kind of watch one a day. And that's kind of our thing. We'll sit and we'll watch like every Halloween, or like one of our favorites is the Final Destination movies. We really like those. I like the Wrong Turn movies. At least the first one's really good. The rest of them kind of suck, but we'll kind of pick movies like that we enjoy, and we'll just do a different one every night. And we don't necessarily have to go through the entire series. You know, we can just pick a movie we like, and that'll be our movie for the night. And every day of October until Halloween, we watch a different horror movie. It's kind of our little tradition that we do, and it's fun. And it's a way to kind of get into the season and all that kind of stuff. But in all reality, what I really, really love is Christmas. And I'm just waiting for Halloween to be over so that we can get past Thanksgiving and get into the Christmas season, because that's my season. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Now time for the shameless plugs. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/James Hershey Jr. That's where everything is. Every episode of Staring, every episode of Tales, and every episode of Paranormal News. There is somewhere between 500 and 1,000 videos on that channel now. So there's tons and tons of stuff. It's 100% free. Please go there, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell thingy so you know when we post. And just enjoy it. It's 100% free. In the description box of every video, or at least all the new videos on the YouTube channel, is the link to the merchandise store. If you want to support the show and you are into merch, that's a great way to do so. The prices are good and the quality is good. So we have merch for Staring, we have merch for Tales, we have all kinds of horror-themed merch, just all kinds of stuff on there. And so if you want to kind of support the show, then that'd be a great thing to check out. We also have a channel on Stream TV called Abyss Broadcasting. That's pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch Staring, Tales, and all that kind of stuff on Stream TV. It's like a little streaming app thing that's coming out. So check that out. Thank you guys once again for all your support. Thanks for hanging out with us every week. And if you want, down in the comment section of the YouTube video, let us know how you spend your Halloween. What are your traditions that you guys do? I know everybody probably takes their kids trick-or-treat and all that kind of stuff, but what's something that you do as a family every Halloween, or one of your things that you and your spouse does every Halloween that is kind of your tradition? It'd be interesting to see. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. We love you. We appreciate you. And until we speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.